everybody, my name is Ashley and I'm from the OU Writing Center. In today's video, we're going to look at some tips and tricks on how to get started with your rhetorical analysis. So let's get going. So when we try to answer the question, what is a rhetorical analysis, we got to go to its foundation, and that is rhetoric. Now, rhetoric may be a term that you have heard before or are discussing in class right now, but a basic definition is the ways in which we try to persuade a given audience for a given purpose. Now, to understand that a little bit visually, if you look to the right-hand side of the screen, we have what's called a rhetorical triangle. Now, of the rhetorical triangle, we have different components. We have the rhetor, the audience, and the purpose that makes the triangle, and then that is all circled by the context. So the rhetor is the speaker, the writer. The audience is the person or group of people that they are trying to address, and the purpose is the why or the message that they are conveying to the audience. All of that, again, is encompassed in the situation or in the environment, which is the context. Now, rhetoric also has rhetorical appeals, and these appeals are what you're going to be using to draft your rhetorical analysis. So first we have ethos. Ethos is author focus, so you're looking at the rhetor's credibility. Are they showing the audience or you that they're an effective reporter on the issue? Are they convincing you? Are they using good sources to convince you of their argument? Pathos is audience-focused. It's using emotions to persuade the audience. So that may be tearing at the heartstrings or with the use of humor. But either way, it is using those emotional components to address the audience. Then we have logos. Logos is content-focused. It's using logic or reason, so evidence in a way of maybe comparing and contrasting or providing facts within the argument. And finally, we have kairos. Kairos is more tone-focused or situational. It's like the timeliness of an argument. So as an example, if you are watching an advertisement and it relates to COVID, it is and has the aspect of kairos or timeliness because we are still in the COVID pandemic. Now, when it comes to analyzing what is given to you, you may be given a photograph or a print ad from a magazine. You want to put yourself in the audience's shoes because, in fact, the rhetor or the advertiser is addressing you. So first and foremost is you want to actually just write down notes of what you see. What do you think their message is? Is it hidden? Is it obvious? In what way do they present it to you? Is it effective? Is it not effective? And all these notes that you'll be taking will help you in drafting your rhetorical analysis. So actually, let's look at some examples. Let's look at a historical photograph and a visual ad. So our first example is a historical photograph and is by photographer Robert Frank in 1955, and it is titled Trolley, New Orleans. So again, put yourself in the audience's shoes and think of the photographer as the rhetor in this situation. So take note and let's move through the rhetorical appeals to see if we can have a central theme that is from this photograph. So ethos. Think of the ethos of the photographer. Upon further research, you may have investigated and found out that this is a Swiss photographer, and he came to America, and this picture is part of a series that he developed because he wanted to provide and show an outsider's view of American society. So that adds to the ethos of the photographer because he's not getting models and placing them in a particular scene and constructing what he wants to show you. It is all real American society. He's walking down the street and he takes this picture of a trolley car in New Orleans. So the pathos aspect, we can look at just simply the emotion on the faces, the placement of the people in the car, and what are they eliciting to the audience. Logos, we can bring in the aspect and kind of pair it with that pathos of what is being presented to us. So we can see that even though this is a trolley car, the photographer decided to keep the windows more central within the photograph, and it looks like each window is kind of a frame, framing a certain particular aspect of American society. So on the left-hand side, you have more of the older white Americans. Towards the back of the trolley, you have the older African Americans, and in the middle you have the younger white children. So what does that say? What is the photographer trying to tell you? And the logos aspect, or the reasoning behind that, could be an aspect of racism, ageism, sexism. So you want to, and finally we have the kairos aspect. So again, the timeliness of this photograph is pretty relevant, especially because we have the Black Lives Matter movement, we have protests going on. So this can be a timeliness argument for what is happening in the world today. Now what we're going to look at next is an advertisement by Nike, as you can see here by their symbol and the symbol on the shoes. So again, what stands out to you? Make note. So we have text, we have a runner, we have the symbol, and let's break it down a little. So what about the athlete? So the athlete is an African American male. He's very muscular. It looks like he's running fast in a race. We have the text. It's white, it's bolded, it's pretty prominent. Where's the placement in the photograph? And then we also have the formatting of the picture itself, black and white, but yet the use of the Nike symbol is in gold. So what does that say? Is there a gold standard to Nike? The Nike on the shoes on a fast runner? Does Nike shoes make you run faster? So you kind of want to deduce and look at what is being presented to you to kind of see what message they are trying to present. So from those examples and from the notes you have, the next step is actually drafting rhetorical analysis. Now, I would say the easiest organizational tool to start with is to separate it out by the rhetorical appeal. So your ethos, your pathos, your logos, and your kairos can all be a separate paragraph. And then when you start writing your notes into paragraph form, you can kind of combine and have more of a conversation on what you're analyzing. It's easier step that way, and then you can broaden it out in your future drafts. So that was just a short video on some tips and tricks that you can use when drafting your rhetorical analysis. So thank you for joining me today. Again, if you would like more information or even to make an appointment, you can visit the Oakland University Writing Center at oakland.edu/OUWC, and we'd be happy to help. Have a great day.